Good morning, students. How are you all? Hope you all are following the guidelines given to you by the government to prevent corona. Now, today we are going to do our second chapter, How the Dog Found Himself a New Master. Dog, as the name says, the story is about a dog who finds a master for himself. Dogs and wolves belong to the same family. Rather, dogs have evolved from wolves. This story informs us how a dog changed to a tamed animal. Now, we'll do a quick summary of this chapter. In olden times, dogs, just like wolves, were forest dwellers. That means they used to live in forests. They were bold, free, and were not afraid of anyone. They were their own masters. There was no one to restrict them. Then one day, a dog who was sick and was scared of other stronger animals decided to look for a master who was the strongest on this earth. To find his master, he began his search, and first of all, he met a big wolf and asked him if he would like to be his master. The wolf accepted him. Both of them started walking, and on the way, they met a bear. The wolf tried to hide himself seeing the bear, and the dog came to know that the wolf was not stronger. So the dog left him and joined the bear. Very soon the dog found that the bear was also afraid of lion, and he left him and went to the lion. The lion agreed to accept him as his servant. The dog lived with him happily for a long time as he enjoyed a secure and happy life the way he wanted. The lion was the strongest animal in the forest. Once, both of them were strolling amongst the rocks. Suddenly, the lion saw a man, and he asked the dog to run away with him to avoid any kind of trouble. At that time, the dog realized that the lion was scared of man. As soon as the dog realized that the man was the strongest creature on the earth, he bid goodbye to the lion as well. Dog came to man as his servant and lived as a faithful servant to him then after. Now, this was the summary of the chapter, and now we'll start with the explanation of the chapter. Now let's start the chapter. Dogs were once their own masters and lived the way wolves do, in freedom, until a dog was born who was ill pleased with his way of life. He was sick and tired of wandering about by himself, looking for food and being frightened of those who were stronger than he. Now first let's do the difficult words. Ill pleased means not happy, freedom means liberty, wandering means to move here and there aimlessly. Frightened means afraid of. Now this paragraph explains that dogs and wolves are closely related family, and there were times when dogs used to wander and live freely just like wolves without any restrictions. Once such a dog was born who was sick of finding food for himself and was unable to move freely in search of food. He would feel tired and was scared of those who were stronger than him. He thought it over and decided that the best thing for him to do was to become the servant of one who was stronger than anyone on earth, and he set out to find such a master. Servant is attendant and master is the ruler. After thinking repeatedly, he decided to work as a helper to someone who was the strongest or the most powerful on this earth. So he started searching for the strongest one. He walked and he walked, and he met a kinsman of his, a big wolf who was as strong as he was fierce. "Where are you going, dog?" the wolf asked. "I'm looking for someone to take up service with. Would you like to be my master, wolf?" I don't see why not, the wolf said, and this agreed upon the two of them went on together. Now, what do you understand by kinsman? Kinsman? A relative, fierce is frightening or violent. Take up service with means become the servant of. Now, this paragraph explains that after a long walk and search, he met one of his relatives. This relative was a wolf who was not only strong but also had a frightening, a violent look. He asked the dog where he was going. The dog replied that he was looking for a master and if the wolf would like to be the one. The wolf agreed and the two went on together. They walked, and all of a sudden the wolf lifted his nose, sniffed, darted quickly off the path and into the bushes, and crept deeper into the forest. The dog was much surprised. "What's come over you, master?" he asked. "What has frightened you so? Can't you see? There's a bear out there, and he might eat up both of us, you and me." Now, what do you understand by darted? Darted means moved quickly, suddenly come over you or affected you. Sniffed is draw up air or through the nose to detect something, like breathing through the nose fast as if to detect something. Now, what do you understand by this paragraph? This means after walking a long distance, suddenly the wolf sniffed, moved quickly, and went deeper into the forest. He was detecting something and was trying to hide. The dog was unable to understand this behavior, so he asked his master what was affecting him. Why was he so scared? Then the wolf told him that there was a bear who might eat them. Seeing that the bear was stronger than the wolf, the dog decided to take up service with him, and he left the wolf and asked the bear to be his master. The bear agreed to this readily and said, "Let us go and find a herd of cows. I will kill a cow and then we can eat both our fill. We can both eat our fill." Now, this paragraph explains that on realizing that the bear was stronger than the wolf, the dog changed his mind. He left the wolf and turned to the bear. He asked him to be his master. The bear agreed to it easily. He told him to search for a herd of cows so that he could kill a cow to fill their stomachs. They walked on and soon saw a herd of cows, but just as they were about to come up to it, they were stopped by a terrible noise. The cows were mooing loudly and running in panic in all directions. Now let's look at the difficult words. Herd of cows is a collective noun here, means a group of cows. Mooing is sound made by cows. Terrible means horrible. In a panic means a strong feeling of fear. Now, this paragraph explains after walking some distance, they noticed a group of cows, but as they tried to approach them, they were stopped by a horrible noise made by the cows. They were mooing loudly and were running here and there because of fear. The bear looked out from behind a tree and then he too ran hastily deeper into the forest. "Now, why did I have to come here?" he said to the dog. "It is the lion who rules the forest in these parts." "The lion? Who is he? Don't you know? He is the strongest beast on earth." "Well, then I'll say goodbye to you, bear. I want a master who is stronger than anyone on earth." Now, what is hastily? It means hurriedly. Beast is animal. Behind, it's at the back of something. Now, what do you understand by this paragraph? The bear looked from behind a tree and started running quickly into the dense forest. The bear told himself that why did he come here, as this part was of the lion. This part of forest was ruled by the lion. He was the strongest and the most powerful animal on this earth. The dog was surprised to hear this, and he immediately left the bear. And of the dog went to ask the lion to be his master. The lion agreed to it, and the dog stayed with him and served him for a long, long time. It was a good life, and he had nothing to complain of, for there was no stronger beast in the forest than the lion, and no one dared touch the dog or offend him in any way. Dared means to be brave enough to do something. Offend means upset or annoy. Now, the dog turned to the lion and requested him to be his master. The lion accepted, and the dog started staying with him and served him for a longer duration. He felt good and enjoyed his life. He was secure there, and he wanted his life like this only. He had nothing to fear and complain of. Now he was the strongest master. Here no one was brave enough to upset him. But one day the two of them were walking side by side along a path that ran amid bare cliffs, when all of a sudden the lion stopped. He gave a great roar and struck the ground angrily with his paw with such force that a hole formed there. Then he began to back away very quietly. What is it, master? Is anything wrong? Asked the dog, surprised. I smell a man coming this way, the lion said. We would better run for it, or we'll be in trouble. Oh, well, then I'll say goodbye to you, lion. I want a master who is stronger than anyone on earth. Now, what is a cliff? It's a steep, high rock, and bare means unclothed. Now, this paragraph explains that sometime later, when the two of them were strolling together between the steep rocks, the lion stopped instantly. He roared aloud and struck the ground with his paws with full force that a hole was formed there, and that he was on back foot, means he ran away. Surprisingly, the dog asked his master if anything was wrong. The lion told him that a man was coming their way and that they must run away to save themselves. Hearing this, the dog bid him goodbye because he wanted the strongest being on earth as his master. And off the dog went to join the man, and he stayed with him and served him faithfully. This happened long, long ago, but to this day, the dog is man's most loyal servant and knows no other master. Loyal means faithful. Now, the last line of this chapter explains that now the dog went to be with man. He stayed with him and became his true friend. This incident took place back till date. The dog is man's most faithful servant, and you all know that dog is considered to be the most faithful animal amongst all. Thank you.